Have you ever wondered why some people naturally command respect, not through titles, not through power, but through presence? It's not luck, and it's not charm, it's contribution. In a world obsessed with being seen, true recognition comes from what you give, not what you demand. Today, we'll uncover how Stoicism teaches us that respect isn't something you chase, it's something you earn through consistent value and quiet strength. So stay with me until the end, because by the time we're done, you'll see exactly how to turn effort into admiration and contribution into legacy. 1. Introduction. Adding value earns recognition. Respect isn't about loudness, it's about impact. The Stoics believe that what defines us is not how much noise we make, but how much value we quietly add to the world around us. In a time when everyone seeks visibility, Stoicism teaches that true recognition doesn't come from demanding attention, but from deserving it through usefulness, service, and integrity. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, embodied this principle. As emperor of Rome, he could have ruled with arrogance or indulgence. Instead, he led with restraint and wisdom. He spent his nights writing reflections that would one day become meditations, not as a work for others to admire, but as a reminder to himself of what mattered most: to live virtuously, to serve justly, and to remain grounded amidst chaos. His power was immense, yet he viewed himself as a servant of reason and duty. He didn't crave applause, and yet centuries later, the world still echoes his words with reverence. What makes Marcus Aurelius unforgettable is not his title, but his character. He didn't chase recognition, he attracted it naturally. That's the Stoic paradox. When you stop seeking approval and focus on contribution, respect follows like a shadow that cannot help but appear in the light of meaningful action. Respect, in this sense, isn't something you demand. It's something you earn through the quiet consistency of doing what's right, even when no one is watching. In today's world, we are tempted to confuse visibility with value. Social media encourages us to perform, to post, to prove, but Stoicism invites us to build. The Stoic path reminds us that the most powerful influence is often invisible. The person who improves a system quietly, who helps another person without seeking credit, who stands by their principles when compromise would be easier. That's where lasting respect is born. So ask yourself, are you adding value or are you seeking validation? The difference defines not only how others see you, but how you see yourself. When your attention shifts from "how can I be noticed" to "how can I be useful," everything changes. Your actions begin to align with purpose instead of ego. You begin to create ripples that affect others positively, even without recognition. True respect grows in the soil of contribution. It's not granted by applause, but cultivated through consistency. People remember not what you said about yourself, but what you did for them. Stoicism teaches that self-respect and outer respect are connected. You cannot truly earn admiration from others if you do not first respect your own principles. When you commit to adding value, you embody strength. You live according to reason. You become dependable, and dependability is one of the purest forms of respect. So, as Marcus might remind us, let your work speak for itself. Let your service be your signature. And when recognition comes, let it be the natural consequence of your quiet impact, the proof that you chose substance over show. Because in the end, those who add value never have to shout to be seen. Their influence speaks in the actions they've left behind. 2. Key principle: respect grows when you give more. In Stoic thought, respect is not something to be demanded. It's something that grows organically from how you serve others. The more you give, whether it's your time, strength, wisdom, or patience, the more others trust and value you. Respect, like trust, is built through small acts of reliability and generosity that compound over time. Consider a modern example. In a bustling tech company, there was a quiet engineer named Amina. She wasn't the one making presentations or taking credit in meetings. Instead, she spent her days helping teammates debug problems, staying late to ensure systems worked smoothly, and sharing what she knew without pride. When a major system crash happened, chaos erupted, and everyone turned to her, not because she had demanded authority, but because she had earned it through consistency, humility, and competence. That's the Stoic law of respect in action. The more you give, the more people naturally trust you. Respect doesn't respond to ambition, it responds to integrity. You cannot manipulate it, only cultivate it. The Stoics would say that generosity is a moral force. The act of giving what is good in you strengthens both giver and receiver. Seneca, another Stoic philosopher, wrote extensively on generosity. He argued that giving freely, without expectation of return, is the highest form of virtue. He reminded us that we should give as freely as the vine gives grapes. In other words, giving should flow naturally from our character, not from calculation. Those who give because they want to be admired soon lose respect, for their actions are tainted by self-interest. But those who give because they wish to uplift others become pillars in their communities. Respect is not about dominance, it's about dependability. When you are known as someone who contributes rather than competes, people instinctively look up to you. In teams, friendships, and families, the one who gives stability becomes the foundation everyone trusts. This is why Stoics valued self-control and service, because both qualities make you a source of calm in a storm. And here lies a deeper truth. The more you give, the more you grow. When you share your time or wisdom, you strengthen your own understanding. When you help someone solve a problem, you exercise patience and clarity. Giving doesn't diminish you, it refines you. Stoicism teaches that virtue is the only true wealth, and generosity is one of its purest expressions. So if you seek respect, don't pursue applause. Pursue contribution. Give your best effort, even when it goes unseen. Help others, even when no one thanks you. The Stoic does not measure their worth by recognition, but by alignment with virtue. As Epictetus said, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. True respect often begins in the moments when you act rightly despite being overlooked. Respect grows when you give, because giving reveals strength. It shows that you have more than enough confidence, enough peace, enough purpose to share. And that is what others will always respect the most, not the person who demands attention, but the one who quietly empowers others to rise. 3. Practical strategies. Share skills, solve problems. Philosophy means little if it cannot be lived. Stoicism is not a theory to admire, but a discipline to practice, a daily method of aligning your actions with reason and virtue. When it comes to earning respect through contribution, the practice is simple but powerful. Share what you know, solve problems before you speak, and stay humble as you grow. Share what you know. Don't hoard knowledge like a treasure. Spread it like light. When you teach or mentor someone, you multiply the impact of your wisdom. Each time you take the time to explain, guide, or simplify, you turn your experience into a gift. The Stoics viewed teaching as an act of moral duty. Wisdom is not meant to be hidden, but to be used for the betterment of all. Think of how Seneca wrote letters to his friend Lucilius, passing down insights not to boast, but to help another live well. Every time you share, you plant a seed that can grow beyond you. Solve before you speak. Words are easy, solutions are rare. Before offering opinions, seek understanding. When you act before boasting, your results will speak louder than any speech. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself to focus on deeds, not talk. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. In the same way, respect grows not from your promises, but from your performance. The person who consistently takes responsibility and resolves issues becomes indispensable. Stay humble. Humility is the quiet strength that keeps contribution pure. It reminds you that what you know is always less than what there is to learn. A humble person lifts others without seeking to rise above them. Stoicism views humility not as weakness, but as wisdom, a recognition that ego blinds us to improvement. When your motivation is service rather than status, your influence expands naturally. Think of this like gardening. Every skill you share, every problem you solve, every small kindness you offer plants a seed in someone's mind. Some seeds grow quickly, others take years, but eventually they bloom into trust, gratitude, and respect. You may not see the harvest right away, but Stoicism teaches patience to act well without attachment to outcomes. Remember, Stoicism isn't about being emotionless. It's about being effective and grounded. It's about directing your emotions toward creation instead of reaction. When you make contribution a habit, your presence begins to carry quiet weight. People start to associate you with stability, clarity, and reliability. You become someone others respect, not because of what you say, but because of how you show up. In every community, workplace, friendship, or family, there are those who drain energy and those who add it. The Stoic strives to be the latter, the one who listens, helps, and builds. Respect doesn't come from titles or noise, but from the consistent pattern of doing what's right, doing it well, and doing it without ego. So as you move through your days, practice the Stoic triad. Share freely, solve practically, and stay humble always. These are not just moral gestures, they are strategies for strength. In a world where many compete for attention, be the one who contributes without need for applause. Over time, people will know your worth without you ever having to announce it, because real respect, like a well-tended garden, always grows from silent effort. 4. Real-life example, a team member admired for contribution. David was an unassuming figure in the corner of the office, a man whose work spoke louder than his words ever could. He wasn't the type to boast about his achievements, nor did he seek validation from others. While some colleagues were eager to showcase their efforts to management, David simply focused on doing his job well. He understood that true contribution is not about visibility, but about value. Every morning, he arrived early, reviewed his tasks, and quietly ensured that his team had what they needed to succeed. When others competed for recognition, he competed only with himself, to be a little better, a little sharper, a little wiser than he had been yesterday. When the company entered a particularly challenging quarter, deadlines piled up and tensions ran high. Projects fell behind schedule, and frustration began to spread through the team like wildfire. Some employees started pointing fingers, others grew defensive. David, however, remained calm. He did not waste energy complaining about circumstances beyond his control. Instead, he focused on what was within his reach, the quality of his own work, his composure, and his willingness to help others. He stayed late without being asked, reviewed reports that weren't even assigned to him, and quietly offered assistance to those struggling to meet their targets. He didn't ask for credit, and he didn't expect it. His satisfaction came from knowing he had done his duty to the best of his ability. Among the newer interns, David's reputation was almost legendary. They spoke of him as a mentor who guided without condescension and corrected without pride. He had a way of explaining complex processes with patience, ensuring everyone understood not just what to do, but why it mattered. One intern later said that David's guidance taught him more about professionalism than any training manual ever could. To David, mentorship was not an obligation, it was a form of service, an opportunity to strengthen the collective rather than the individual ego. In the spirit of Stoicism, he saw himself as part of a greater organism, a limb of the whole, as Marcus Aurelius might put it, and his role was to act in harmony with that whole. When leadership roles eventually opened, names began to circulate around the office. Some candidates had the charisma, others had the ambition. But when whispers reached the upper management, one name surfaced repeatedly, not because he campaigned for it, but because his actions had already cast the vote. David's name carried quiet weight. Colleagues respected him not for self-promotion, but for his constancy. His reliability had become a kind of moral gravity that drew trust naturally toward him. In that moment, he embodied one of the timeless Stoic lessons, that respect is not demanded, but earned through action. The Stoics teach that our character is our most persuasive argument. David didn't need to say, "Look at me." People were already looking. When the promotion was finally announced, David accepted it with the same calm demeanor he had always shown. There was no victory lap, no boasting, no shift in attitude. He thanked his team, reaffirmed his commitment to their collective success, and returned to work as usual. The applause in the room was sincere, not because of authority, but because of authenticity. Respect had found him not because he chased it, but because he lived in a way that made it inevitable. In the end, David's story reminds us that the surest path to admiration is contribution. As Epictetus wrote, "If you wish to be good, first believe that you are bad." David's humility made space for his growth, and his steady contribution became the echo of a deeper Stoic truth, that virtue, consistently practiced, commands silent reverence from all who witness it. 5. Contribute more than expected today. Here is your challenge for today. Contribute more than is required of you. It doesn't have to be grand. It doesn't need to be recognized, but it should come from a place of integrity. The Stoics believed that the measure of a person lies not in what they receive, but in what they give freely to the world. Seneca wrote, "No one is more miserable than the person who hates himself, and we are often led to such self-hatred by selfishness." The antidote to that misery is service, genuine, quiet, uncalculated contribution. When you give without expecting acknowledgement, you align yourself with the natural order of virtue, the kind that exists for its own sake, not for applause. Today, help someone without waiting for gratitude. Offer to proofread a colleague's report, lend your ear to a friend who needs to talk, or share an idea that might improve the team's process, even if it means someone else gets the credit. Each of these acts, though seemingly small, adds weight to the invisible structure of respect that holds communities together. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "What is not good for the hive is not good for the bee." When we focus on the good of the whole, we strengthen ourselves as well. Your effort contributes to something larger than your individual comfort. It contributes to the harmony of the collective. Stoicism doesn't ask us to suppress our ambition. It asks us to redirect it. Instead of striving to be seen as important, strive to be useful. Instead of seeking titles, seek trust. The Stoics knew that fulfillment comes from alignment between our values and our actions. You can choose today to embody that principle. When you contribute beyond what is expected, you step into the rhythm of virtue itself. You become, in your small way, like David, the person others trust, depend on, and quietly admire. Every act of genuine service is a declaration that you are in control of yourself. You are not driven by ego, nor by the desire for praise. You are moved by purpose. This is how Stoicism transforms ordinary work into moral practice, by reminding us that every moment is a chance to live our philosophy. You don't need a grand gesture, you just need consistency. Offer value where you can. Listen when it's easier to talk. Stay calm when frustration rises. Be generous with your time, your patience, and your knowledge. Over time, these small acts will shape you into someone whose presence commands respect effortlessly. So, contribute more than expected today, not because anyone is watching, but because you are. The Stoics remind us that the only true witness we need is our own conscience. Each time you choose generosity over indifference, you strengthen your character. Each time you act with quiet excellence, you build a foundation of respect that cannot be shaken. As Epictetus might say, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. Let today be a reflection of that. Give more, expect less, and watch how naturally respect begins to find you, just as it found David. In the end, respect isn't demanded. It's earned through contribution. Every time you add value, you shape not only how others see you, but who you become. So today, remember this Stoic truth. The one who gives the most grows the most. Keep contributing, keep improving, and watch how respect naturally follows your actions.